Hey everybody, it's the Cannon Cruisers. We're back again. I'm JD.
And I'm Randy, and this is episode 2!
Yep, we're here to talk about Dr. Heckyl and Mr. Hype from 1980.
Directed and written by Charles B. Griffith! Woo!
As you can tell, Randy absolutely loved this film. So why don't you give us the synopsis, Randy?
So, do you know that famous novella called Dr. Jekyll and Mister Hyde?
Yes.
It's that, but reversal.
Oh.
Dr. Heckyl is an ugly, malformed goblin of a man, a podiatrist, who, after taking a strange potion, becomes Mr. Hype, the hottest man alive, but also a jerk and a murderer.
Oh, yes, just like the novella.
Yeah.
Only he's not ugly.
And only, I like the novella.
Ooh.
Yes. But see, I don't need to give you any more synopsis because it follows it follows the same basic structure as any Dr. Jekyll and Mister Hyde movie, including the original Universal one from the 30s, 40s, whatever it is.
Yep.
It pretty much sticks to that. So anyways, let's begin!
All right.
So what'd you think of the movie, JD?
So what did I think of the movie? Well, let's see. It was an hour and a half long, and I would say I enjoyed about 20 minutes of it, to be completely honest with you. And the 20 minutes I enjoyed was the last 20 minutes, because the last 20 minutes are insanity.
Also, just to give you, it's like, if Schizoid was just supposed to be like this horror movie, like this thriller, this is supposedly supposed to be a comedy, but it's supposedly a horror film, but not quite.
A horror comedy, it's supposed to be. But
I barely put either of it into that. It's actually more violent than Schizoid was, and Schizoid was about a serial killer who killed people with scissors.
That was the strangest part of the film. In this film, too, the big part of it is sex, because that's Mr. Hype's whole reason for existing. He wants to have sex. He wants to not be a virgin.
Yes, and he always kills the woman before he can make the deal. It's really a weird movie.
And despite the sex, there's actually less nudity than in Schizoid as well.
No, there was actually no nudity. But there was this really weird run at the beginning of the film that was very foot fetishy. So, my impression of the movie is that it was pretty bad. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, it's like terribly plotted. The comedy is very broad. It's like the last 20 minutes, as he points out, goes insane.
So over the top.
Goes over the top to the extent that it's barely even the same movie. Yeah. They start using stock sound effects that you might find in a cartoon.
Yes.
It's like the cops in this film give the Keystone Cops a run for their money. It gets really off.
Yes, it does. Okay, so what I'm going to say is I would actually give this a 2 out of 5. And the reason I would give it a 2 out of 5 is purely because of the last 20 minutes, and it made me laugh a lot. If it wasn't for that, I would have given it a 1, because it's not a good movie at all. It's not enjoyable. The only thing I actually enjoyed was the performance of Oliver Reed.
I have to disagree overall. I don't think the performance of Oliver Reed, I would have still give it a 1 out of 5. It's like, we're not there. This wasn't good. Oliver Reed put in work with what he was given, though. Yes. I will give him that. Everybody else, not so much.
No. He felt kind of out of place compared to everything else, but his performance was pretty good, and like I said, it made me laugh.
He was the one legitimate actor in the film.
And that's the only positive thing I can say about this film.
Though apparently I spotted maybe the actor that played the uncle or father or something like that in Gremlins 2 at some point, and that got me excited because it was kind of funny. Mm-hmm. And also a recurring theme from the last movie we saw, cops are the best part of the movie. And but in this case, because it was dumb. Cops were idiots.
The cops were really silly and really oddly portrayed, but they were funny. Every time there was a joke centered around them, I laughed. I have to admit it. I didn't laugh a lot in this movie until the end, because they were in it a lot more and they were really funny.
So, yeah, this is going to be a kind of a quick episode because there's not really a lot to say. It's not very a meaty plot.
No. If you've read Dr. Jekyll and Mister Hyde or seen any of the movies, you know what the plot is.
Well, you know what? Let's give it a quick step by step. Let's elongate this. So the movie actually begins with Dr. Heckyl. Mm-hmm. Is this goblin of a man. It's like green skinned. He has this half-eaten carrot of a nose.
Yes.
Really weird fro going on. Mm-hmm. He walks down the street and everybody runs in terror. Mm-hmm. But then it's revealed that he has a heart of gold. People actually love him. His secretary is kind of flirting with him, and he doesn't pick up on that.
Yep.
And the whole entire potion wasn't made by him.
It was made by his partner, who was another doctor at the clinic he works at. Now, the thing with the clinic scenes is it's very out of tone with everything else in the movie. Even the last 20 minutes.
It's very broad. It's all over.
It's very broad humor, but there's no focus on it.
There's multiple different stories going on here. Like, there's different movies in here. Like, you mentioned something after the fact about something like, kind of like Anchorman. Like, it's very loose and free form overall. Well,
Anchorman is a movie that has one consistent style where it ramps up as it goes along. This one just kind of goes all over the place, but then ramps up at the same time, so it's very confusing.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, okay, these are the beats of a Dr. Jekyll and Mister Hyde story. We're hitting this, but you know what? Do what you want. You want to be a tickle doctor? Be a tickle doctor. You want to have a little person with nunchucks?
Although one thing I'm going to give it over Schizoid from last time is not every character was abominable in this one at the very least.
Oh yeah, there were likable characters.
There's that going for it. As I said, the only reason I'm not giving it a 1 is because it did make me laugh and I didn't hate everything about it, but it wasn't a good movie and I don't recommend watching it.
But wait, I still have more to say. It's like, so we're doing a quick scene by scene. The turning point that makes him become hype is that his partner makes a potion that he says will make the person disappear if they have too much of it, because it completely gets rid of all negative aspects. So it makes them thin because he works with diets.
Yep.
And at this point in the movie, within the first 10 minutes of the movie, we find out that Heckyl has had a miserable life and just wants to kill himself.
Basically, the first hour of the film is split into two halves. The first 30 minutes is basically Dr. Heckyl
wants to kill himself,
and he has a miserable life, and everybody finds him repulsive. And the next 30 minutes is after he takes the potion and becomes Mr. Hype. And the opposite happens, only everybody is just creeped out by him because he's a creeper.
Yeah, and the rest of the movie basically likes to switch back and forth between that.
And then the last 30 minutes is basically what I said before, where everything goes crazy. And that's the part of the movie I like.
So that would be your highlight of the movie. That would be the thing that you find to be the standout. What is your one standout moment in the whole film? Not just like the last 20 minutes of the movie. What really stood out to you?
My standout moment is probably the very end with the final transformation sequence. When they oddly take it seriously right before he gets shot at the end.
Yeah,
that was really good. Well done.
Like as it's like we probably should say this at the beginning of every podcast. It's like the moratorium on spoilers is over. Oh, yes. Dr. Jekyll and Mister Hyde has been around a long time. So at the end, he runs to this woman he's been in love with as Dr. Heckyl, who actually sees him for who he is on the inside. He's taken so much potion at this point that he's switching back and forth. She accepts him for who he is, but is afraid that Hype will kill her.
Yep.
Makes love to her for the final time, and then, like I said, this is all very strangely serious and very touching.
Yep. And then the cop from before comes in, who's probably the most comedic character in the whole movie, and he's very serious, and he shoots Mr. Hype dead as he's transforming.
Back and forth, he's transforming,
It's a very well done scene, and it even ends, of course, it still ends on a joke, which is the whole, I'm still a virgin, which was pretty much the theme throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
But again, it was a good ending to a not good movie.
My highlight of the film, is there's one point where the cop is following him, and after Dr. Hype kills a woman, Dr. Hype walks out of the building holding her over his shoulder,
wrapped in a sheet,
and the cop's sitting there just reading a book, not even paying attention, and he just tosses her into the garbage bin and walks away, and he's like, "Good day, copper. Have you seen anything interesting?" "Nope." "Okay." And walks away.
Yeah. That's, the cop, to me, was probably the funniest character in the movie.
Yeah. So our next film, it's like we're going to be skipping a couple because we can't get a hold of them. And we're going to be jumping immediately to November 21st in 1980 to watch the classic film, The Apple.
Unfortunately, we're not getting to the better stuff until Enter the Ninja, folks. So you might want to stick with us a bit while till we get there. And I think that's everything we got to say about that.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for this short episode, but what can you really say about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
If you've seen any of the movies, if you've read the book, you already pretty much know it. This is just an attempt at a comedy reversal. Doesn't quite make the landing.
Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Keep cruising that catalog.
See you guys next time.
Yep.
On the Cannon Cruisers.
Bye.